under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God. What's he talking about? You know, when a man dies, he goes to heaven, and his soul is without a body. His soul is without a body. And so what happens is, God clothes him with a spiritual garment. And Paul talks about these things in 2 Corinthians chapter 5. You can read that for yourself later on. Okay? So that we being clothed should not be found naked. So, because demons have they're bereaved of their bodies. They don't have bodies. Demons are angelic beings that were bereaved of their bodies. It's part of their punishment. They have no body. So they're always looking to enter into someone, because without them being in someone, they cannot function. They cannot manifest themselves in the earth in the way they would want to manifest themselves. So that's why they're always looking for someone to possess. They don't have a spiritual body. So when a man dies, he lays aside his body and is present with the Lord, but he has no spiritual body. So what God does is he clothes him with a garment, a spiritual garment, until the resurrection. At the resurrection, you get a body. So that's what he's talking about here. Go back to that verse. It says that when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God. These ones were slain during the tribulation. Remember, the rest of us are already in heaven. We are changed. Okay? Those of us who caught up to heaven with the others who were dead already. Okay? The dead ones resurrected with new bodies. Then those who were alive were changed instantly. Their bodies were changed instantly. So they have new glorified bodies. Okay? So we're all in heaven, and we all have glorified bodies in heaven. But these ones just came from the tribulation, so they're not in our class. So they're under the altar. They're under the altar. Now, you want to understand something about what he's talking about there. Is referring to the altar of burnt offerings in the Old Testament, okay, when they took of the blood of sacrifice and it went to the horns of the altar, and they smeared it on the horns of the altar, but the rest of the blood they poured under the altar. Okay, so it's the sacrifice, the burnt sacrifice. Now these ones who have given their lives and they were killed for the word of God, they offer themselves to God. So that's why they're under the altar. So they gave their lives as an offering to God. That during the persecution, they refused to take the mark of the beast. They refused to worship the beast, and they were killed. And so now they come to heaven, and they're under the altar. But only as souls. They have no spiritual bodies. So what happens is this. Where are we? Watch now. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice. Look at, it's quite interesting. They're so different. Because during those 7 years was when they really got to know the Lord. And they didn't have time to grow. They were under persecution. They didn't have time to grow in the Lord. They're very unlike the rest of us. The rest of us, when we were persecuted, we were praying for our persecutors. We were like, the Lord, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. These guys, they're different. They didn't grow in the Lord. They didn't have time to grow. Hear what happens. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? They want vengeance because they were killed. We didn't call for vengeance. All right? We were like Jesus. But these ones, they had no time to study. They were fleeing from place to place because persecution was so much, and they caught them and killed them. And now they say, Lord, you have to avenge our blood. They're calling for vengeance. All right. So look at next verse.